season and joined the Somerset County Farmers Market. In 2012, they began traveling to other farmers markets and currently attend Richland, Lurie Ave, and Somerset on different days of the week. Along with their produce, they sell grass-fed beef. It's what's for dinner. As a fellow farmer and someone who has family in Somerset County, it's an honor to introduce Toby and his wife, Chris.
An open mic and a clicker. I'm not sure what to do all that. Anytime my children did any things in school or whatever, they never give me an open mic to comment on what they were doing. So this is an honor. Attitude of gratitude, JD. Thank you for inviting me here to speak. It is an honor to speak in front of a group of rural fellows. I'd like to thank rural fellows that came down to the farm show. I know one troublemaker that was there and a few other folks I've picked out here. If JD's never been there to participate, she's been through, but Tara has. It's an interesting, what I would consider a rural activity, because you've got about 3 feet to transfer back and forth food, to communicate with the public, to communicate with servers, and you're in personal space like you cannot believe, and you've got to figure out how to make this all work. It is a rural activity. We do thank all the folks who come down for that, and if you haven't participated, man, you missed something. Come back next, you know, 30 years to do this, I guess. We're alumni. So that is the thank yous. I will get political for a little bit. Agriculture is unique. There are studies out there that plainly are 27% behind inflation on our pricing in agriculture. And that came through mainly for farmers market. Those who are in agriculture, sometimes you can feel the dairy is really an ugly situation. I'm not sure grain is any better. So we have a difficulty, a controversial and a, let me say, contradictory statement. Love Donald Trump as our president. No, I hate Donald Trump as our president. I love what he's doing. He's done more for my agriculture than the last 20 years worth of presidencies that I've seen. On the other side of the aisle, DC in general has not, they told us about all our problems, but no one's coming up with a real solution. I personally don't know what that solution is either, but they keep on bickering in DC and don't realize that their food sourcing may be coming to an end as we know it. Farmers, I think JD told me, I'm not sure the true age, 56, 58 is a farmer's age. I'm fine, I'm gonna die soon, I'm okay. What happens to the next generation? Will we have food to eat? Yes. Will we have the safety of food we have currently? I'm not sure. We have food deficits across the world, or across at least the nation, and just in Pennsylvania. The problem is we have lots of food, we have no way to get to the people that are hungry. Feeding America is out of Pittsburgh. Know Bob Adstrom, he runs most of that. Tells me every year in January and February meetings we have lots of people come out and volunteer in what they call harvesting. If I have another extra acre of sweet corn that I cannot use, cannot harvest, they have volunteers to come out. February, I get all kind of volunteers. July, August, when it's hot and sweaty and bees are out there and everything else, I'm at the beach, I'm here, I'm there. No one comes out to harvest that product, whether it be corn, soybean, or corns, zucchinis, artichokes, whatever. So we have a hard way of getting our food surplus to the people that are hungry. That pipeline, the logistics does not work there. I'm not sure that the answer is of that. I am sure that someday that may run out. The food safety issue is, I deal with it daily. That's one of my biggest headaches. We have the FSMA regs, the Food Modernization Safety Act of 2016. Curious, I understand they want to make food safe for people. My biggest concern is, I sell someone a zucchini or a combat hamburger or a T-bone steak. They throw it in the back of the car, a week later they pull it out. And now it's my issue because that product is not good. I think how we handle our food products is a big headache. And it's in the homeowner situation that we have that, not necessarily in the food production area. With the hungry people we have, FSMA's regs, one of the most curious regs that FSMA has come out with, if I see a feces of a deer or a raccoon in the middle of my pepper plant or pepper patch, I need to red flag that and not harvest anything within a 10-foot circle of that product. How do we do that and keep our food supply? That is very hard to do. If you see a bird dropping on a head of cabbage, you can't harvest that one or 3 heads of cabbage in each side of it. That doesn't do anything for our food supply. I'm not sure the real answer is there. Farmers, I guess, get a bad rap that we try to eliminate wildlife out of our food growing areas. Then we have the animal welfare people that argue with us how we do that. So farmers are in kind of the middle of a situation here that I'm not sure how to answer. But we're working with it. They said, I'm old, I'll die, I'll be fine, I won't go hungry. I'm not sure about the next generation, how that's all going to work. All of our food doesn't come from a grocery store. So I hope I didn't bore anybody with that, but I think that's a true reality in what we've got in the United States. So, okay, on to what I think I'm supposed to be here for. I'm going to try to walk away from the mic because I do better moving. And you can see I talk with my hand, and we'll get on to that. This young lady, Mandra, she has what we have. Our new product is our beef sticks. They have beef products and pork products in them. You can open that. She's going to pass that around. They are on toothpicks. Chris, you can open one of those up. And okay, you figure it out. If you like beef, it's our new product. It's our next step in changing to different things and just trying to make our market work. Okay, we started. I'm not sure whose way I'm standing in here. Hope not too much. In the wrong place, tell me. The Weavers moved from George, Switzerland, to Batavia, then to Germany and Pennsylvania in 1784. Into the town of Cedar. If you are familiar with Somerset County's 11 for 11 come out of the coal mine disaster. We had Cedar 7 back in 1738 or something, I believe it was, that had the same coal mining disaster, and it ended up the same way. By the tapping on the pipes, they got out alive. So Cedar has the story to it. This is Abraham's. That's came through our grouping in the early 1700s. Samuel and Mary, original farmhouse. We lived in the barn. Well, that's farmhouse currently. Okay, Samuel and Mary's family. Samuel had Levi. Levi's the man in the middle. That is my grandfather. The bank barn there. They lived in the bank barn in 1835 for 2 years till they got the house built. That's the way life lived back then. Not sure Chris would have participated in that. I always have a good story that if anybody asked my children whether you were born in a barn, I gave them that option. Chris said no, that option. So they lived in the barn. That's the original, or part of the original bank barn. There was actually a tornado went through in 1926, removed part of the barn, so they did extend a piece of the barn in 1926. This is my mother's side of the family. Had a barn, built the barn. Great-grandfather built the barn in 1900. They moved in from Germany also. Off to the left is the Johnstown Airport. My mother got to see the Johnstown Airport being built when she was in her young ages. My mother's side of the farm, mom's on the right-hand side, grandpa and aunt. My grandfather only had 2 children, 2 daughters. They worked harder than anybody that you can put out there nowadays. So I always used the thought that Pittsburgh defensive line can even follow my mom and my aunt around for a day and figured it was easier to go back to Pittsburgh still to practice than it was to follow the farm. These are both my grandfathers. Grandpa Weaver on the right-hand side, Grandpa Schulter on the left-hand side. This is my dad and his 3 sons. Oldest brother, who's in partnership with me, is on a hay wagon, and my other brother there with 2 hands is to the right of me. I'm hanging on the tire. safety issues, we don't want them to touch that. My mom, my dad, we do have a sister, moved off the farm when she was 17, I don't know what year, that would have been 1972. Happy to leave farm, anxious to leave farm, hated the farm. Now she's trying to get back to the farm and can't. Long story short there. This is what we call a family portrait down on the right-hand side. My dad had passed away at that point. That would be somewhere around 2007. My mom was still alive. In the woods, that's where we like to be, out in the country. We consider Philadelphia as another country. It isn't part of the United States. Sorry, inconvenience. On that. My dad and uncle had the farm. Uncle's on the left. My brother Mark is on the right-hand side. My brother Mark bought off my uncle in 1971 or 72. And my dad, or my brother on the left, uncle on the right. So he was the generation of the farm that farmed with my dad. This is my dad in my sophomore year. Dad got ill. I had an option of help take over the farm, but I didn't have an option. You run the farm. The farm needed to be done, and that's what we did. We farmed. I'd pretty much missed my senior year of school, but get up in the morning, do the farm chores, get home as soon as you could, and take care of the farm work. So that was a situation I had. That's the way it was. The band is the only thing that kept me in school. I wanted to quit, but this band director said, I'd be in the band if I don't go to school. No, you stay in school. Band director is why I stayed till 1977 when I graduated school. This is my brother Mark. I'm in partnership, and missed a day of school in May, my senior year, to sign a $200,000 mortgage. I was 18 at the point, so I could sign. So brother and I had started an addition to the farm. The only new tractor brother and I ever bought on the farm. All the rest of them were used. We do not have that tractor anymore, but that's the only new tractor that he and I ever bought on the farm. This, you can see, the only picture we have, right hand. It's right hand. It's the only picture we have that my children have found with the right hand. So, started remodeling the old dairy barn. Cans were how we handled milk before. We moved on. This is renovating the old dairy barn and basically getting it ready for heifers and so forth. Started as the senior year I graduated. No, probably junior year we started on that. Did all that block work ourselves. We should have never done that. Should have hired somebody in to do it. Maybe young, foolish. That's the way it happened. Added the dairy barn in the bottom section as a T right out the front of that barn. Hoped to move in 78. I didn't get moved in until 79 because we did too much of the work ourselves. But now that included all the pipeline milking, so you did have to carry the milk to wherever you wanted to store it into the coolers. State of the art at the time in 79, and now that's so antiquated it's ridiculous. So we transitioned into that. It was fun. Wouldn't ask for anything else to do. This is how the vegetables started. This was an old milk delivery truck, and you can see in the right-hand corner there, I'm standing away here. Right-hand corner, we sold sweet corn out of there up to the tune of $20,000. People would come, leave their money. The corn was there. We'd just move it through, and we'd be there as much as we could. That's how the sweet corn and vegetable business started. That truck did move at one point and ran. My mother, when she was helping with the dairy business and raising children and grandchildren and everything, would take that milk truck out in the fields, pick the sweet corn. If somebody wanted half a dozen corn, she would run out to the field and get it. Oh, it was hard training the customers that wasn't going to happen. Personal service was great. We always tried to stay at the top end of the prices. When people were selling corn for $1, we'd sell for $3. The quality commanded it, the customers came, so we had no problem with that. In 1985, I was dating a girl that irritated me. She wanted to go out somewhere one night. I've got a picture of this machine at the farm show, and I did a better decision. I stayed home that night and built that machine by hand. So it was a better decision. I know the young lady to this day, I send her husband sympathy cards every now and then. But it was the innovation of putting plastic over top of sweet corn to enhance the market. We could get sweet corn out by the 10th of July, never could hit 4th of July. I've been trying since '85, somebody else can do the math. 10th of July, so all the earlier Somerset County lets us get sweet corn out. We built a lot of our vegetable market basically on sweet corn, and we did dairy till 2004 there. So we were known as, my mother was known as the carpet lady or the sweet corn lady. So as we moved into sweet corn, we advanced the sweet corn under plastic. Normally sweet corn area comes in around the second week of August, so we were a month early on our sweet corn production and sales. Chris, you got anything to say on top of it? She's my techie. None of this stuff happens. I had one picture of it.
And I don't think we have the new way we cover your sweet corn on this.
Yes, we do.
We do? Okay.
Yes. She's very interesting. She didn't come in the picture. She comes in the picture with me. This is kind of our picture of the new dairy barn and so forth, the contour farming we do. Neighbor, right, if you look right down the corner, surface mine. That hurts. They do have that area back in production, so it was a successful situation of surface mining and bring back in. That is the town of Wimber. We don't have, at one point we had 3,800 people in Wimber. We're down to about 2,200 people in Wimber, so that is what we had hoped to be our market for our vegetables and so forth. Don't sell a lot of vegetables to 2,200 people. When we started selling sweet corn in 1960, jugged milk at that point also. Still have people coming in today, I didn't know you were here. Obviously, it's my fault for marketing. I'm not sure why or how. Chris came aboard 1990. JD come aboard in 1989. Actually, I started dating Chris in August, had my interview for role, and they kind of grew up together. There was some jealousy that I would take off to a rural study, and
So excited.
I would come home excited. You all understand that excitement when you get home for a weekend. You just want to talk about what you did and what you didn't do at rural, and how this all went. And I was a widow for a weekend. She done a great job. So JD and Chris come on board virtually at the same time. My rural graduation picture, a rural reunion with Russ Holm and Eileen Robinson, Andy Stoffen, JD holding my oldest child. I'm not sure what rural session that was at, but JD got the hold one of my children. So I was an elected official in township where we came from, Payne Township, Somerset County. Same year George H. Bush was elected. Challenges in being an elected official, trying to run a farm, trying to be a husband, trying to be a dad. Man, Bob, I think we discussed over lunch. Rural needs a session to say no, just say no. It's hard to balance how you want to be an elected official, serve 3,800 people in a township, get to the meetings, do it right. I had a goal from coming through rural, I wanted to do it right. Not sure the counterparts in the township wanted to do it that way. So it was a challenge. 2004, cows on the truck. Physically, it got harder for Brother and I, not that I was old at that time. The renovations of 77 were now antiquated, needed to be rebuilt, needed another $200,000 loan to do it correctly between dairy, what we need for the dairy, and the proper milking of cattle, and proper handling of cattle, the physical ease of handling of cattle, the manure storages, the environmental issues. So the choice was to say goodbye to the cows. Hard day. Can't say it either way. But since then, we still do have cattle. We have some beef cattle. Realize that if I go work with cattle, my arms swell up, my eyes swell shut, I'm allergic to cattle. I'm lactose intolerant now. Man, was I wrong business. Somewhere to talk about poor choices. Still love my ice cream. I developed a lactose intolerance. First year Chris and I were married, sat down in the kitchen, or in the living room, opened up half-gallon ice cream, started eating out of the fork. She goes, well, that's rude. I said, what? She said, well, if somebody else wants some. Somebody coming tonight. I wasn't aware of anybody who did that. She said, no, you put it back in the fridge. I said, who puts a half-gallon of ice cream back in the fridge? So, the lactose intolerance was a quarter eggnog and a nut roll for breakfast at one point. That doesn't happen anymore. It shows up after age 30. This is our home stand. This is actually George Bush. We had George Bush as a neighbor. George A. Bush, okay. That's his 3 granddaughters. He and his wife had 4 boys. His wife wanted a daughter, so it could make Rose Bush. Matt didn't get that. So he has 3 granddaughters. His wife had passed away with an ugly cancer before he got, I guess, two granddaughters, but they were very small. But his daughter-in-law is Holly Bush. So his wife got to meet Holly Bush before she passed away. This is the modern way of doing our mint sweet corn now. It is a 40-foot wide synthetic, breathable plastic. Water can go through it, air can expand off of it. Where it would take me, my father-in-law told me one day, you seen the old plastic layer that I'd made while my girlfriend figured I needed to do something else. I would lay over 6 miles of plastic to get that sweet corn down. It was a rigorous, it was a hard, the wind would come along and tear it up. I'd go back manually with my shovel and put it back on, rigorous. 400 by 40 tarp, I'm down to the point about an hour by myself. Can lay it down, it's great. It would take me hours on end. So this is not brought sweet corn in before the 10th of July. The environmental part of it is better. We get less washout, don't have the rows of all those situations. Just a better, again, moving on in modern technology and everything we do. And then just realized, I showed you the right hand. Traumatic amputation at, a year after I got signed a $200,000 loan, traumatic amputation of the right hand. Arm machine, got hungry at lunchtime, I stopped and ate, didn't feed the machine, so it took the fingers off at the knuckles here. Went into the hospital, one of the good stories I forgot, sorry Bob. Went into the hospital, didn't know where the emergency room was. There was 2 doctors standing in the hall, asking where the emergency room was. Well, what happened? Why did I rag up my hand? Cut my hand off. One of the doctors fainted. Right on the floor, said, you take care of him, where's the emergency room? So I went and got my hand. Got my hand attended to. They called home. I hope this isn't too close after lunch. Called home to get the fingers, and the cats were sitting eating fingers. The machine diced the fingers into little 1.5-inch pieces. So, that's actually what where audience, I try to keep a good audience of, what happened to your hand? Cats ate it. I'm not lying, it's just how you stage the whole story. Again, staging, you'll learn that. Where you are, how you stage your story. I do have an educational advantage over Joe. Farmer's market, obviously I cannot bag a product without anything, and you got little kids this tall going, you can see them going, mommy, daddy's pants, legs, whatever. So anytime I get the opportunity to ask the parents if I can speak with the child, and I sit down with the child, you get down on one knee, you don't stand above them and say, I didn't listen to my mom and dad. It's the truth. I've been taught machinery safety ever since I was this big. I didn't take the proper safety procedures. So if I can get one of those kids, hey, mom and dad tells you not to do something, don't do it. This may not happen, but it could happen. If you're working with lawn equipment or anything, or they tell you stay away behind the car, listen to mom and dad, grandpa, grandma, whoever. So I do have an educational advantage, and I try to use it to the best I can. I use it for entertainment as much as I can also. But I try to stage against my audiences where we need to go with all that. I spoke of the tunnels. We'd moved on to aggression in vegetables. Crop stripping here you can see is different than when we did full agriculture products. These areas here are strawberries and small tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, all those kind of things. Here is a tunnel, here is a tunnel, 2 tunnels up here. Again, that's to broaden our market so we can go earlier in the spring. In our area, tomatoes, August 10th, August 15th. With these tunnels, we can have tomatoes on the market by June 16th. Cucumbers by 1st of May. Lettuce is in the 1st of May, so forth like that. So we have 3,400 square feet of tunnel space. Out of this tomato tunnel here, it's 1,000 square feet, gross $10,000 worth of tomatoes. Acre of corn at 150 bushel an acre. I can only get 100 bushel an acre. Gives you what?
At these prices,
At $4 price.
at $4 corn, you're looking at $600 an acre.
$600 an acre. I'm doing that in a 1,000 square foot. Calling the tractor, plant the corn, calling the combine, harvest the corn. A lot less intense, but with the time of putting that tunnel out and making more money in tomatoes. Again, I'm not putting up the second tunnel for tomatoes because we're matching our market. Agriculture has a bad problem. We like to go out and produce. I'll pick on Penn State. Sorry. They've taught us all about production. They're starting to teach us more about marketing. Get your market, cheese person, marketing. Agriculture needs to learn so much more about marketing. Just don't produce and hope somebody buys it. Horror stories of Toby market, and we talked to you about farmers markets being run by farmers, but yet we have farmers that come in. President of our organization had 150 pepper plants one year. He's giving away peppers for 25 cents. You can't grow a pepper for less than 75 cents logically and make any money at it. We can get all the added cost in. You've got to do true math. Gotta get rid of them. I gotta get rid of them. Tell them there's soup kitchens all over the place. Donate them to them. Next year in January, he's telling me, I got 400 pepper plants started. You couldn't sell 150 last year. Why are we growing 400 pepper plants this year? Back down to 25-cent peppers. Marketing, logic of marketing, know your market, where can you go to, what you can't go to. That's the headaches of farming. We're trying to work with that. This year we did the best in strawberries we've ever did. For the exception of my knees and my arm, I'm the strawberry picker. That's just all there is to it. She does a good job, but I'm always stressed. We have a difference of opinion. Get to point A, she goes this way, I go this way. Part of the disease control is picking them clean. To hire someone to pick them clean, I'm not sure I could. It's my baby. I take care of them. There's diseases called spotted wing Discophorus. The biggest thing that promotes them is leftover fruit. They come in and breed on them and so forth. So to control that, you have to be very vigorous of picking strawberries. Greatest sales we ever had is on 1,300 plants. We're doing 1,000 plants this year. I physically can't do it. We marketed virtually everything. Some of it was wholesale. Physically, I can't do it. And keeping after, again, it wasn't that you just picked what you can market. You had to pick what you couldn't market. And that's part of the project. So trying to keep some of the disease under control with logic. There's X amount of spraying you can do. Very conscious of the environment. We use as much of the organic or the Armory certified products. Maroon Products is a great deal out there. Peroxide. It's amazing what it'll do. Now I use a different peroxide than what some other thieves do. I use an 80% peroxide. Used properly, it keeps the ammoniums off of the strawberry plants. the metro, the spotted wing Christophorus, managing all that in time gets very difficult. Again, always trying to figure out something new. We started with sweet corn, went to tomatoes. I think we have a picture here. This is our first high tunnel we put up, so I can do some explanation with that. Took 1, 2, 3, how many people we have there for that first one? Maybe 20 people put that first piece of plastic on that high tunnel. Wow. This is what we've grown inside there. We had onions inside there. Onions don't need to go in the tunnel. They love outside. We had sweet corn under the plastic inside the tunnel. I'd actually got sweet corn for Father's Day that year. It cost me $28 a dozen, I believe. So there's not too many people who are buying sweet corn at $28 a dozen. So move the sweet corn outside. This was our first year tunnel learning, growing. You don't do that in the tunnel. You put one thing in the tunnel, you take care of what's in that tunnel, and you move on. Wow, growing pains. Pains in the back, pains in the knees. We had tomatoes in there somewhere at that point. We had green beans there, cucumbers there, corn there, tomatoes center. Tomatoes were indeterminate. Didn't know the difference between determinate and indeterminate tomatoes. Indeterminate tomatoes grow and grow and grow. There's a 16-foot ceiling in that tunnel. We had tomatoes up to the ceiling and back down. She had fun on her. I'm crawling through like a coal miner, trying not to disturb it, tomatoes, and picking tomatoes out of these plants.
I actually would lay on my back. Okay. And
Yeah.
then skittle. I needed one of those creeper cords, but that's what I did.
Not mentioning she has allergies. Has anybody been in around tomatoes and you get those fragrance, not the tomato itself, the tomato plant? I think divorce was close. So we learned how to run determinate tomatoes. They get about this tall. You feed them, you take care of them, you love them, you hug them. She plants all the onions outside. Now that was on a green plastic. She plants on a silver with a black stripe through now. So on a sunny day with silver plastic reflecting back, can you imagine what your eyes feel like? She's a great wife. Just all the truth behind it. There's cucumbers. We're using the swimming pool ladder. The kids wonder where the swimming pool ladder was. I think. So tunnels have successes. You keep on moving on. You keep on changing. I'm not sure what all your occupations are, but you can't do your job the same way yesterday as you do it today. And that's agriculture itself. Reinvent, reinvent, reinvent. Listen to education. Again, I'll pick up Penn State. I know this is a Penn State organization. Call up the extension agent and say, hey, why don't we try this, this, and this? Boy, that sounds really good. Tell me back, tell me how it works. No, you're the research people. So we do, I guess, promptu research for Penn State. Would not want to do life without Penn State extension agents. Concern is I'm old. Most of the Penn State agents that I've worked with all my life are old. They're going to retire. I'm not sure how the budget's going, where they're going to replace those agents. I officially got to be old the other week with the Pennsylvania Vegetable Grouping. Kathy Demchek, extension agent, was sitting with her at a round table talking about berries. And she said, I remember when all you guys were my youngsters, I had faith in you. Kathy, I remember when you were young too. So we're getting old together. The other round table had lobbyists. They were the lobby group that talking about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it in the legislation. And one guy came over and asked me, hey, can you go testify at the Game Commission? I said, no, that date does not work. It just does not work. So my friend Laverne was at that table. And, hey, Laverne, did you tell him to go over and ask me? No, the other guy there was sitting there. He says, hey, go ask that old guy that travels with you whether you can come over and testify for him. So I'm officially old now through the Young Vegetable Group. In the strawberry, sweet corn, this little drug right here, I don't know how many you can see, it's called IPM. You just don't go in and spray the products. We have traps out there trapping moths. I do run for a fly swatter when I see a moth.
not for butterflies. Trapping different types of moths and so forth. If they're in the fields and at a certain threshold, then you do some spraying. If they're not at the threshold, they do enough economical damage to cause any problems. So we do DIP management, integrated pest management, as much as we can. 4th of July potatoes had disappeared for a while. They're a red flesh, a blue flesh, and a white flesh potato, so we could have them out for the 4th of July. Daughter that helped me do them back in the good old days. I think can we go backwards if we go forward here?
Yes.
This daughter here is now 24. Is now in Pittsburgh, in one of those other countries. And Dad, I had blue potatoes at the restaurant. So, wow, where have you been for the last 10 years? So she had helped me plant and harvest blue potatoes. She thought it was a fascination in a restaurant in Pittsburgh. So red, white, and blue potatoes, through management, getting too many different varieties didn't work. Again, but I've been planting 10 pounds each of those this year just for a quick niche market and getting out of it. Pumpkins, a lot of attention. There's a lot of pumpkins out there, not a high value crop for me for the work it takes, so they have been discontinued. Artichokes take 2 years to grow. Long story short, they didn't work. Otherwise, they were planted right beside cucumbers. And again, Chris had a pick. If you ever met an artichoke plant, it's a giant thistle. So when Chris was picking cucumbers and the artichokes were behind her, we won't say where she got jugged and how bad it was, so the artichokes disappeared. Sunflowers in the top left-hand corner, always want to have sunflower maize. Everybody has corn maize, I want to have sunflower maize. Never worked out. So they bring a lot of diseases into different crops, the different things, the sunflowers, so they are a challenge that we did not want to deal with. But I will say in northern Cambria County, the county right above me, someone has done sunflower maize. I've not got there yet, but I'm just jealous and excited that somebody's made a success out of it. Asparagus is one of those things added on. It's a great early crop. Garlic is working good for us. Raspberries have started on the farm. Blueberries are Chris's baby. She picks all those little itty bitty things, and to fill up a pint of blueberries takes her twice as long as it takes me to fill a pint of strawberries, so I'll pick the strawberries. Lettuces, we have 3 or 4 different varieties of lettuce. Again, speaking over here again, that people come to farmers market, pick up a head of lettuce and say, what do I do with this? Oh, I've got a bad personality for dealing with people. Take it out, throw it in your car, run it back and forth, come back and buy another one. That is not the answer. The youngest daughter, who's not in this picture, yeah, here she is. The youngest daughter is obviously the smallest one there. She was my best marketer. She can rattle off a recipe. Oh, you take this home and you do this, you do that, and everything. And on the way home from the farmer's market truck, she'll look back and say, hey, Dad, can we go home and try the recipe? It sounded really good. She had no clue, but she could sell sandwiches and sandwiches. Best marketer in the world. And who denies a cute little face like that money? I mean, you, the little girl there at that market. And the best story I have about her, we had, 3 different kinds of raspberries. We had the yellows, the purples, and the reds. And somebody comes up through and asks her the different kinds. Oh, the reds are just the best, and I like this, and they're so good and everything. And the customer bought some raspberries and walked on. I just looked over at her because the lavenders and the yellows weren't selling as good. I looked over at her, and no customers around, and said, do you like the red raspberries? Oh, yeah, they're the best. That's all I said to her. Next customer come up through, these yellow raspberries are just the best, the lavenders are the best. She wanted to take red raspberries. I didn't have to tell her, she figured that out on her own. She's selling the other kind, she's taking the red raspberries home with her. So, she's a great marketer, moved on to college, really doesn't have a lot to do with the farm. Farm markets, obviously I had 3 daughters there that helped me at markets. Have kind of moved off the farm and have no real interest in being part of the farm. Obviously, the gal that does all the work and does the best, Chris and I at the farmer's market. This is what Rule does for you. Top left hand, Russ Redding, Secretary Redding, come out to the Somerset County Farm Market. 2 commissioners there with us, and obviously myself and the 3 girls. Russ come out on the farmers market. Russ, farm show, walked past him, and he was very busy, took himself away from everything else to say hi to Toby, and that was a good thing. Daughter, invited the daughter down, Tabitha, she was a very good vocalist, invited her down to sing at the opening of the butter sculpture. That was Russ's first turnaround in the Secretary of Agriculture. That daughter also got to be the Maple Queen in Somerset County. Russ was there at the opening of the Maples season. Again, Russ acknowledged my daughter very well, and it was an exciting thing that Secretary Redding, don't mean to disrespect when I'm calling Russ, but he's Russ to me. Lower left-hand corner. Didn't have it on, don't have it on today, but I had a denim shirt like this that had Rule on it. Secretary Wolf is in the middle. Miguel Sabernas, Extension Agents on the right-hand side. Had a meeting in Somerset County. Secretary Wolf come in, and there's another dairy farmer on the committee we were working with that night. It was a Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, Somerset County Farm Bureau meeting. Come in to talk dairy. Another guy I always butted head with, he's Rule 1 graduate. Secretary Wolf, because I have a Rule shirt on, come over, talk to me, acknowledge me, listen to me much more than the meeting, because I have a Rule shirt on. JD can give you a sidebar to that story with Secretary Wolf anytime she wants to. I'm gonna let that be. So Rule does get to acknowledgement. You'll learn that as you go through here if you don't know it already. That networking in Rule is an amazing thing. This is our farmers market on Tuesdays in Luray Avenue. As I was an elected official, I had a newspaper writer that hated me. None of the articles come out right. This year he came through the farmers market and wanted to do an article on us. He did a full-page article on us. The article wasn't important. It's because I was an elected official, because I went through Rule. We got more advertisement on the front page ad in Johnstown paper for that farmers market than anything. So again, the Rule perspective covers, the umbrella covers a lot of stuff and gets you into a lot of places that will help you throughout your life, and no matter how you change your life, and it does help you with that. That's an asparagus patch now, changed all the different revamping, testing, revamping, testing, reinventing. It's part of everyone's daily life. It's part of mine. Grandchildren that probably won't take over the farm. The one that's clear to the left is the youngest. She's now 19, gonna be 20. Next one up is my daughter also. She's got a real good job in Pittsburgh. In 1 year will make 3 times what Dad will make in 10 years on a farm. Next daughter up is a school teacher, wanted to be a school teacher since she was 2 years old. Nieces and nephews through the gamut. None of their hands really fit shovels and forks for the farm, so that's we're not sure what's going to happen next generation. Still old farmers in the field. That's myself, my brother that run the farm currently. Don't know where it's going to go. Value-added products is where our marketing took us. Sweet corn we dehydrated. Because of PDA laws and rules and regs, we're not sure how far that's going to go because we can't get full definitions of parameters. Apples we dehydrated. Again, Hank loves them, JD's husband. And again, because of parameters, I'm not sure PDA regs and how we can keep them and how all the dehydration goes are pretty much at a standstill. Pickles we put in jars so we can hold them forever instead of having a 1 week situation of marketing them.
Toby,
Beef sticks.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You have several minutes left, just a few, so that people can ask you questions.
Okay.
We can take
Okay.
questions and answers.
Okay.
Thank you.
Beef sticks, they got passed around. That's our latest innovation. That's our motto. What we want to see in the shirt, that's put on the side of the truck now. That's our marketing board, traveling marketing board. Okay, sorry. Time, questions.
I want to thank you for your presentation. I learned a lot because I don't know much about farming.
You're one of those
There's people outside the country.
And, one, those beef sticks were delicious. They're delicious.
I commend your flexibility and your willingness to try new things and learn and grow when you recognize that things weren't working the way they could have.
It's life in general.
Thank you very much, both of you, for being here. As a consumer, those, let's say the cabbage that you said couldn't be sold because of bird dropping, am I able to, like, would I be able to come, like, you can't distribute or you can't harvest at all?
Federal government says do not harvest, throw away.
You can't donate anything, so it goes to complete waste. Is that?
Federal government law.
That
Because
is mind-baffling.
there's no way to wash all of that out.
You can wash it off with procedures or in depth. Yeah, we need it.
But I can grow it at home and
Yes.
obviously don't really think about that and we can eat. Okay, thank you.
It's the question of how well the consumer will handle the cleaning up.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yes.
Toby, thank you. It's great to hear from a full-time farmer in this setting, working with farmers every day. I have a question for you that will pertain to all of us in this room, I feel. You mentioned about having the ability to say no. And earlier in this weekend, we heard from someone about volunteerism and saying, always say yes to opportunities. And I think it's really difficult to strike a balance when you're working a full-time job, let alone when you're managing a dairy herd that is a 24/7 business. So I'm interested to know what tools or suggestions you have for striking a balance between public service and a full-time job and your family, especially when you're a farmer.
That is all up to you. You have to figure out where your children are at the point in time, where your marriage is at the point in time. What significant role will this volunteer position, being selfish, help me or help your community? As a township supervisor, someone would call me with a complaint, and I did resign after 2 years. I left that up. And I'd listen. Biggest thing you want somebody to listen. And I would answer them with, now this affects you. I've got 3,800 people in my township. Is this an adverse or advantageous money expenditure, whatever, for 1,600 or 1,700 people in my township, or just for 10 people? That's about. So where does these volunteerism, where does it lie within what you need done, or how well will it affect your community? How well would it affect the life for you and your children in your community if you volunteer in this position? Hard balance, hard play.
Thank you for sharing your story of farming, and also you brought in a lot of different perspectives. I work for Penn State Extension, so I understand some of what you're talking about, and I'm tasked with trying to advocate for that funding for the next generation of extension educators. What would you like us to know? What else is a component, or what more, when I'm going to ask for those funds, do you feel is important from your role as being, an elected official?
The one main issue is, do you want your food sources to continue? If you're not supporting the farmer who is creating your food supply for your population, how important that is that to you?
So education or food safety?
Food safety, food supply. That's the two issues. Extension agent during summer, I can't guess how busy they are. The technology has improved. Instead of having Tom Ford come out to my farm and look at this plant, a techie person takes a picture, sends it in to Tom. Tom says, well, this could be this, take a different picture from this angle. So technology has relieved a lot of that. Part of it's going to be how well I trust that new person coming to Tom and I. Yeah, we can stand and if you want to understand the thing we say, and in 3 words we can have it all figured out because we've been working together for so many years.
Do you have that relationship?
Yes, and that's, same as Kathy and Chuck, just those people, we know how to communicate. He knows my farm, so developing, on my challenge too, developing that new relationship. I'm not sure that technology gives us enough of the aerial views to send a picture of my farm so that person understands. Tom's come out and walk farm once a year, sometimes not even once a year, but he knows where my tunnels are. He knows the position of the winds, he knows. So you need some hands-on, I just feel And that's, I'm not sure we're gonna have in 5 years.
I think that's really helpful. I also saw a large structure painted as a corn, an ear of corn. Is that a former silo?
Someone just gave that to us and it's
Okay, I
a
thought
sweet
maybe
corn
you
sign.
painted your silos.
No, I'm not artist.
An ear of sweet corn. I'm serious.
Not that somebody gave us that.
Thank you.
Yes.
I want to thank you too, Toby, for getting down with those kids and telling your story and putting you up as an example of what not to do, because you appreciate and understand that kids need to hear that and see it. What is your community doing around ag safety in particular?
I'm the only farmer in my community.
Yeah.
We had 15 dairy farms back in the 70s. We have no dairy farms currently. I'm nowhere right. I'm the only one in there. It's advantageous to my pricing, but it isn't advantageous to agriculture safety. Yes, Farm Bureau does have safety programs on further to south for heavier agriculture. Bedford County had 2 programs on here just Thursday. So it is, Farm Bureau is doing a great job with that, and Penn State is also. So
Can I ask a follow-up question on your meat product? Which I'm saving on. So
okay.
Can you talk about how you market something like that? How do you get the word out? How do you determine, I know we were talking earlier about volunteerism, but we're talking about how to engage as the younger generation, understand how important it is to know where your food comes from and the value that they would, that food comes off of your farm. And tell your story, your farm story. How do you do that?
We are lacking agriculture, my friend. Any chance you get, tailgate markets, give us an open opportunity. Say, come visit my farm, do this, market that is just samples on the table. That's a byproduct indirectly. To get Delmonico's, New York strips, and filet mignons, you gotta have a hamburger. We can't sell all the hamburgers, so that's a different way to market a hamburger at a profitable level. And I'm not going to tell you that's the healthiest piece of meat you'll ever eat, but man, is it good. So that's the balance. There are people that they come in a 10-pack. I said, I know they're not good for you, but man, yeah. She opens a pack of those 10, lays one up for me because there's no such, like liquors, there's no such thing as open pack. There's an empty pack, and there's a closed pack. There's no open pack. So that's part of it.
Thank you for your presentation. And actually, I'm from Somerset County, and I know your daughter, Alka,
Okay.
your friends, actually graduated from Conneaut Township, so we're rivals.
Okay.
But I can appreciate like the area and know that other farmers are in your position when they don't know who's going to take over the farm in the next generation. Is there anything that is there any outreach going on through maybe the extension or any other programs about filling that gap?
PVGA has a program where we're bringing in young farmers, showing them what we've got. We've got, it's a different venue, but the same venue, vets coming in. Anybody wants to get in agriculture with vet. We have nurturing programs trying to put them together. Still, when you show them the numbers, the economical numbers are not advantageous to bring anybody in agriculture. That's the sad part.
So are there any, we probably have question for time for one really quick question. Does anyone have any more questions?
No.
Other than, did you bring any of those snack sticks to?
He has a question.
To sell to us?
It wasn't a marketing meeting. It was. Well, I'm gonna go with
Doug had a
because
question.
he reduced me. Sorry.
So, as a 26-year-old farmer, who has the rest of my career ahead of me, and we're currently in grain production, in a somewhat urban area, as more close to Philadelphia. So, what do you see being one of the biggest challenges that I'll face in the next 50 years in ag?
You're sitting in the right place. Legislation, the idea of what we need to do, how we need to do it. That's, yeah, lobbyists. All
right. Give Toby a round of applause. Will do. thank you so much. Here's a gift for both you and your wife. We appreciate you so much, and I'm more than likely to be reaching out to you at some point, so I appreciate it.
Around, I'm good at talking, you took me.
Thank you.
Okay, please take about 10 minutes to fill out your evaluations.